A vampire lover gets her life endangered by rescuing an injured vampire. In the cold and snowy times around Tahoe Lake, a young and struggling novelist exists, only to obsess over writing vampire-based fiction. However, her dull life turns upside down when an injured vampire hits her window in the shape of a bat, and she decides to rescue it and heal it, not knowing its reality and the trouble it is going to bring along with ticking time. The movie opens with a young girl living near Lake Tahoe. As it starts snowing outside, the girl goes out to look for her dog and bring it back home. Little to her surprise, she finds her dog's collar hanging on a tree branch, drenched in blood. Before she gets to panic, 2 female vampires and a male vampire gang up on her to quench their bloodthirst. The scenes are then shifted to the film's lead, Olivia, a struggling novelist who lives in the same area. She loves to write about vampires because she's obsessed with them. That day, she is disheartened by receiving a letter from the fiction department, rejecting her content for having an overwhelming volume of material. The following night, after writing her novel, Olivia pours herself a drink. Suddenly, an injured bat hits her main windows. Out of pure kindness, Olivia takes a shoebox and goes out to rescue the bat. She brings the bat in, gives it some water, and puts a bandage on its wounds. Olivia decides to put the shoebox in the garage and goes to bed. The same night, a police officer named Julius is seen interrogating and patrolling in the same area as Olivia's. The next morning, when Olivia is on the phone with her sister, she overhears strange noises coming from her garage, so she takes a mini sword and goes into the garage, only to find out a full-size naked man lying instead of a bat. The man growls at her to scare her away. Simultaneously, Julius comes to Olivia's doorstep for interrogation. She invites him in without looking suspicious. When he asks Olivia about any suspicious activities going on in the area that she may know of, she bluntly denies seeing anything out of order. Julius even shows her the pictures of the vampires on his tablet, asking if she's witnessed any of them. One of the pictures shown to Olivia is of Luke, whom she rescued last night, unaware of his reality. Hence, she bluntly lies about not seeing any of these. It can be assumed that Julius is looking for Luke because he attacked him last night, but he ran away, which brings Julius to interrogate everyone around the lake, including Olivia. Now, Julius hears some sounds from the garage, which prompt him to ask about it in a suspicious tone. Since she loves vampires and has helped one since last night, she chooses to keep it a secret from Julius. Instead, she makes up a lie, saying the noises are being made by her pet cat, Buster. Now, Julius finds Olivia a little more suspicious when he looks over a vampire-related novel of hers on the table and vampire fangs as ornaments on the Christmas tree. He hands out his card to Olivia and leaves. When he gets into his car, he calls the other cops and reports that Luke might be with Olivia. Now, Olivia quickly runs to the kitchen and breaks some raw spaghetti to make a crucifixion to scare away Luke because she believes in such stereotypes about vampires. She then takes a bucket and dumps in some old clothes to give to Luke. When she goes to Luke to give him clothes, she observes that he's slowly shape-shifting into a proper human now that he's healing and becoming better. She hands him the clothes and asks how she can be of any help. Luke asks for some blood instead. Contrary to Luke's aggressiveness, Olivia can't help but spring around the house with joy and excitement as her fantasy has come to life. Without a single doubt, she rushes to a market and arranges small containers of blood from the butcher's shops. She comes back home and warms up one of the containers of blood in a cup so that Luke can feel the warmth and replicate the experience of drinking fresh blood. When she gives the blood to Luke, he gulps it down his throat in no time. He goes to sleep immediately after getting his thirst quenched, allowing Olivia to get back to writing her unfinished novel. The following night, Olivia spots Luke in his full human form, so she sits with him and asks about the vampire stuff she has always been curious about. Luke confirms some stereotypes and reveals that he's a special kind of vampire who can take forms. Suddenly, he starts sensing someone outside and asks Olivia to go and check if there are cops or his fellow vampires outside. Olivia doesn't hear the bell ring, so she doesn't leave, but when Luke raises his voice at her with an aggressive tone, she is forced to go to the doorstep. She sees no one and returns, not knowing Luke's partner, Jackie, is watching her from the windows. When she comes back to Luke and tells him there is no one, Luke breaks the news that she can't keep him here forever since he will leave her as soon as he fully heals. In return for Olivia's kindness, he will spare her life. Olivia has a hard time believing him, because she knows he has a team of other vampires, and according to stereotypes, she knows how they pick up a victim together. Hence, she knows her chances of survival are very low. She leaves Luke alone that night before handing him an unfinished version of her book on vampires so that he doesn't get bored throughout the night. The next morning, she goes to throw the house trash out in the dumpsters, including the emptied-out blood containers. Unbeknownst to her, Julius is on the watch, monitoring every move of hers. When she goes back inside to mingle with Luke, Julius picks up the dumpster and finds the emptied blood containers. He laughs and confirms his suspicions that Luke is under her roof. He calls his team and prepares himself with a crucifixion cross before entering Olivia's place. He barges in and chokes Olivia for not spilling the truth earlier. He then finds Luke and starts hurting him by showing him the cross and jabbing a pointy needle to the side of his waist. As this becomes unbearable for Olivia, she takes a shovel and knocks Julius out by smacking his head with it. She tells Luke to run away till he gains consciousness, but Luke bites Julius's neck and sucks him dry of his blood. Olivia now realizes Luke is actually a bad vampire, and that her stakes in living are dangerously low with him around the house. She runs outside to the main lounge and stops responding to Luke now that he's taken a man's life. She becomes scared of the situation and even tries contacting her sister over the phone, but she doesn't answer her calls. Later that night, Luke offers to help her with the novel, so she goes to see him. She is surprised to find out Luke, still wearing her dead mother's clothes, has cleaned the entire place and even hidden Julius's corpse. She becomes a little unsettled by Julius's feet showing up, so Luke quickly covers them with a sheet to make Olivia feel comfortable, and he promises that he will take the body with him and give it a proper burial once he's fully recovered. That night, Olivia takes him to the living lounge, where he helps Olivia finish her novel on vampires by telling her everything there is to know about vampires. The following night, when Olivia goes to sleep, Luke's friends come to Olivia's garage door to take Luke back, but he doesn't let them in and tells them to leave without him. The next morning, when Olivia comes back from a market trip, she finds Julius's car, so she unlocks it and tries to get a hold of his tablet, where all the useful and necessary information about the vampire is. Unfortunately, she's unable to unlock the tablet. When she further looks around the car, she finds some equipment, including an old-school crossbow, which Julius had to fight against the vampires. She puts everything back in its place and leaves. The following night, she spends Christmas with Luke by gifting him a decent pair of pants and a shirt, so he can come out of his dead mother's clothes at last. The two drink and watch a movie together. When Olivia feels sleepy and drowsy, she goes to her room and allows Luke to sleep for the night in her guest bedroom. That night, Luke's friends show up and finally take action. When Luke steps outside to see them, they overpower him and barge inside the house. While the others hold Luke down, Jackie goes upstairs to attack Olivia. She saves herself and runs downstairs to seek Luke's help, but is doomed when she sees Luke being held by the other vampire. However, she manages to run outside. While Luke's friends punch some senses back into him, Olivia flees in Julius's car. While she tries to alert the cops, Jackie seduces 3 men and parties with other vampires by devouring her victims. Back on Olivia's side, she loses hope when she's unable to get in touch with anyone. Hence, she takes the matter into her own hands. She waits for the night to end and makes her move in broad daylight since they can't get sun exposure. When the sun rises, Olivia enters her house with the crossbow. She spots a male vampire sleeping in the lounge. She ties a sheet around his face and drags him out in the sun, where the vampire chases her, but she manages to jab an arrow in his heart, ultimately ending his life. She then comes across Jackie and the others. She successfully takes down everyone, except Luke, who is innocently hiding behind her Christmas tree. She decides not to shoot him and captures him instead, because she's skeptical about him regarding taking human lives. The scenes are then cut to 10 months later, where we see Olivia in a library, signing her published and now gone successful novel, which she couldn't have finished without Luke's help. We then see Olivia taking a tray with cups of blood to her garage, where she's tied Luke to a chair. The movie ends here. I hope you liked the story recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you for being a part of Black's Movie Recaps. If these tales of mystery and intrigue sent shivers down your spine, Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Black's Movie Recap for more bone-chilling narratives. Stay tuned, and until next time, stay captivated.